Om Shri Sai Ram. Pranams at the lotus feet of beloved Swami, who is always residing in our hearts, and our loving Sai Ram to all of you. As lovingly, Bhagwan says, not information but transformation, not instruction but construction should be the aim. So, we the Balvika ceremony welcome you all on the behalf of Ulhasnagar Samiti to understand this transformation and divine construction through a regular study of sign literature as a part of 9 Code of Conduct. We welcome all the senior devotees of MMR state. Come on, let us invite Swami and try to understand the message he is conveying.
पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम् इह संसारे बहुदुष्कारे संसारे बहुदुष्कारे इह संसारे बहुदुष्कारे कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे
Bhagwan Baba says, only human beings have capability to read sign literature. With the help of sign literature, we can get liberated from the difficult cycle, birth and death. So choose the path of spiritual literature. Today, we are blessed and honored for giving us the divine opportunity to present before all of you. We are thankful for the same. Let us begin with the introducing Balvikas Alumni and Sai Youth, who will be presenting as follows. First, introduction and a beautiful PowerPoint presentation which will make you understand what is sign literature can be presented by Riddhi Pahalwan. Second, group discussion in which we observe the pathways to understand what is sign literature and can be experienced by Darshni Lakhani, Kanika Thakur and Switi Sabandasan. Third, importance of regular science study is important as necessary for all of us as it leads to transformation, and it will be presented by as a role-playing newspaper reporter formed by Brother Akshay. Fourth, practice in daily life will be presented by Nikita. Fifth, group singing by the whole group. We hope our today's session on regular study of sign literature will encourage you to revisit, reflect and ruminate on Swami's precious words, for there lies the key to inspiration, transformation and realization that we are living in sign. Sign out.
Progress.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Myself, Riddhi Pahalwan, offering our most loving pranams at the divine lotus feet of our ever-present Swami and invoking Bhagwan's presence on behalf of Balvikas Alumni and youth of Ulhasnagar district. Our loving Sai Ram to all my brothers and sisters listening to our program. This session is on regular study of sign literature that is a part of 9 Code of Conduct, which is divine instructions given by our Bhagavan. Whether we call spiritual self-education or sign literature or Svadhyaya, it all stands for offerings to Bhagavan. Svadhyaya. What is Svadhyaya? Svadhyaya is reflection on one's self. Svadhyaya is a Sanskrit term which means self-study and especially the recitation of the sacred texts like Tapovanam, Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Vahinis, etc. Let us see what Swami says about Svadhyaya. All Sai devotees are expected to study the life, messages, and teachings of Swami. However, the literature of all the great religions and saints should also be a part of our reading material. In short, Sai literature should be interpreted as literature that helps provide spirituality, awakening, and inspiration. The regular study refers not merely to individual study but also participation in study circles organized by the center. What is self? Analysis, which leads to honest evaluation. Swami says, not information, but transformation, not instruction, but construction should be the aim. Theoretical knowledge is a burden unless it is practiced when it can be lightened into wisdom and assimilated into daily life. Knowledge that does not give harmony and wholeness to the process of living is not worth acquiring. Every activity must be rendered valid and worthwhile, but its contribution to the discovery of truth, both of the self and of nature. The three stages of spirituality. What are the three stages of spirituality? These are Shravana, which means listening or absorbing. Second, Manana, which means reflecting or digesting. Third, Nididhyasana, which means putting into practice or acting on the message. These are the three stages in spirituality. It is not the quantity of knowledge you absorb, but the quality and the degree you reflect and integrate the message into your life. Now, what is reading about the Sai literature? They are the three-step process towards Sai transformation. This is the proper plan of study. So the first step is reading. The second step is reflection. What is reflection? Reflection is study with faith and devotion. Delve into the significance and the meaning of what you read and always have before you the goal of putting what you read into practice. Unless you do so, the study circle will remain a half circle forever. It cannot be a full circle. Now, what is regular application? Regular application, much reading confuses the mind. It fosters argumentation and intellectual pride, which I insist on is putting the things read into practice. At least one thing or two. Moreover, you must always remember that the book is just a pointer or a guide, a signpost. Reading is not completion of the journey. It is only a first step. Read for the sake of practicing, not for reading's sake. So the regular application is must in our life. Study is work. Inquiry into the value and applicability of what is studied is worship. The experience of the validity and value of practice. That is wisdom. Thank you. Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, we just heard such a lovely message on what sign literature means. Now, let us get a better insight into Swami's message. Let us begin by introducing ourselves. We have Miss Sweetie, who is a beginner on this path. We have Miss Darshana, who has already been studying sign literature.
And we have Miss Kanika, who has deeper sight into his message. I am very much in need of deep insight on this. As Swami says, my monkey mind keeps wandering and always finds reasons to delay this practice. Though I participate in seva activities and bhajans organized by Samiti, but I haven't reflected upon Swami's literature. Actually, I need some convincing answers to a few doubts.
Sure, go ahead. That is why we are here for, right?
So, my question is, why has Swami laid out regular study of sign literature as a practice?
Okay. So let's begin to understand this word by word. Swami has chosen the words regular study of sign literature, the first word being regular. For every prescribed mode of sadhana, Swami has laid out a particular time to be devoted to each one of them. And when the divine planner has ordained a time for this sadhana, that itself makes it very much accomplishable, right? The second word is study. It is very important to ponder upon that reading is different from studying. Study is reading combined with 100% involvement, concentration, and with an underlying purpose to be achieved. And I would also like to tell you the role that study of sign literature plays is that of what alphabets and numbers has played in laying a strong foundation for our worldly life. Likewise, sign literature plays a pivotal role in laying a strong foundation for our spiritual upliftment.
Sister, what if I prioritize my life in achieving worldly goal first and then come to Swami literature when I retire?
Sweetie, the question you have put up just sounds like, what if I first fulfill my American dream of holding a degree from a foreign university, get a job, earn a reputed, set up a reputed business, earn a few millions in my bank account, and then choose to learn alphabets and numbers after retirement? And Swami says secular education is for living, but spiritual education is for life.
True, well said. But how to begin with for initiating this sadhana? Which books should I read first? And what are the type of books that I should be reading?
It's good to see that you are already so charged up. It is easier to begin with study of books containing short stories by Swami or experiences of devotees. Then studies the lives of holy saints, Satyam Shivam Sundaram by Professor N. Kasturi. I feel so humbled thinking about that the Lord who has given the Bhagavad Gita, the Holy Bible, the Guru Granth Sahib Ji has given us Satyasai Speaks, Vahinis.
Can't wait to read.
It's lovely to hear that the idea is already planted in your mind, but I would like to know that how do I evaluate myself and progress further?
So, before I answer your question, I would like us to remember that all are co pilgrims on this path towards Swami. Some of us may be highly literate, while some of us may have read higher number of books. But it is important to remember that comparisons of any sort should not form a setback into our spiritual progress whatsoever. Even if a person is not learned, we can very much listen to Swami's message and ponder upon his teachings. So, there is no comparison, neither is there any need to worry about what will happen if I have read this, which book is the best. Swami has given an answer to your question in a very simple way. Swami says that after reading his message or after listening to his messages, we should ponder upon his message. We should reflect upon his teachings and then put those teachings into daily life. Thus, we will be truly living up to Swami's expectations from us.
Thank you for making this so easy. Here, I would like to add that for each one of us, we have content available on the internet itself, like Sri Satyasai Books and Publications Trust page, where we can find a vast collection of books covering every possible topics of interest. There is also an entire web page of Sri Satyasai Media Center dedicated to spreading wonderful articles to read. Also, there is apps like Prashanti Connect, Radio Sai Global Harmony, which are available to download on both Android and iOS platforms. Isn't that amazing?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So, let us conclude our discussion by remembering this. Sign literature books are a precious treasure. It is a gift to humanity given by a beloved Lord. These books are sources which enable us to find inspiration for us to begin working towards our inner transformation and thus awaken ourselves to our inherent divinity. So, let us all embark on this journey and as well begin to live Swami's message, thus inspiring others along the way and truly become his Divya Atma Swarupa Laras.
Jai Sai Ram.
Sairam, myself Akshay Devadiga, Balvikas Alumni. Today I am presenting roleplay on importance of regular study of Sai literature. So let's first discuss the current situation in which we are having a livelihood daily. So let's understand the tragedy the current world is going through. Why the world is so much under crisis, no control for anything. Countries are facing worst war situations. People in these countries are literally helpless. Another problem is many countries are still suffering from pandemics. Everywhere, inflation is so high that people are starving badly. People have to understand each other's need. All should remove the thinking of hatredness. In this, all I know, knowing the importance of regular study of Sai literature is worthwhile. It helps all human beings to understand, to live peacefully. So let's understand how it is important for us. So let's start with how ignorance gets removed. Just as thick fog is dispelled by the rays of the sun, ignorance melts away before the powerful rays of knowledge is acquired by the uninterrupted inquiry. One should constantly be engaged in the inquiry of the nature of the Brahman. So here we are saying that we should always do a regular inquiry of what we are saying. So we should be conscious of our act, how our thoughts, how our actions is creating a reaction on our thoughts and emotions in our daily life. Second is inner Atma shines nicely and illusion disappears. As you see in the slide that how the Atman shines, this is just a representation purpose to show you how the Atman shines nicely when we have the inner qualities refined and it is void of delusion. So here I would like to give an example of the gold. When gold is melted, it shines with a strange yellow glory. Where did that light emit from? From the gold or the fire? What happened was the removal of the dross by the fire. The effulgence belonged to the gold itself. It is the very true nature. The fire is only the instrument of the removal of the dross. One has to conclude that the splendor come out through the fire, not by its own nature. So, as you see the example, the fire, but out of its own inner nature. Third, the route to overcome inner obstacles. When we practice literature daily, we have the inner capacity to overcome the obstacles naturally, like Vikshepa, Mithya, etc. Some types of obstacles in which Sai literature helps human being to realize the Atma. So it helps to eliminate egoism, desire, gain liberation. When sun rises, darkness as well as the trouble rises from it, disappears. Similarly, for those who have realized the Atma, there is no more bondage and no more sorrow that arises from the bondage. Delusion comes only to those who forget their bearings, ego, and the greatest factor in making the people forget their very basic truth. Helps. So Sai literature also helps in getting the understanding of Vedic literature. The sound is the very core of the Veda. Sound is associated with the harmony and the melody. So the Veda has to be heard and ecstasy derived from therefrom. It is not to be analyzed, commented upon, and judged. This is why the Veda is called the which is heard, Shruti. In Sanskrit we call it Shruti. Only through listening to the recital can the awareness of the Atma and the bliss it confers be earned. Bliss thus acquired manifests in words and deeds that confirm bliss on all around. The term Vedanta is generally used by many to indicate a school of philosophical thought. But Vedanta is only a special section of Vedic literature. All the Upanishadic texts from the part of Vedanta is a consummation of the Vedic thought. The Vedas themselves are invaluable guides towards the highest. Now let's go to another point, leads to unshaken faith in Atma. So when we follow the Sai literature in our daily life, we have great examples in our country, Bharat, of many great sages like Ramakrishna, Paramahansa, Jayadeva, Gauranga, Tukaram, Tulsidas, Ramdas, Kabirdas, Sharda Devi, Meera, Sakubai, Malamma. They have mastered the spiritual test. The reason obviously lies in the unshaken faith in the Atma, won through the purification of the mind. The spiritual knowledge alone conferred on them the purity and the clarity. So when we read the test of this sacred knowledge, we get the clarity of our life, we get the purpose, what is the purpose here in the earth, and we get the clear clarity how things work and how things will go, and how our inner karmic pattern get cleared off. So these holy people spoke what they had in their hearts, exactly as they felt or experienced it. Second thing is, it trains the mind to dwell ever on God. The mind is influenced by the reason for objective pleasure and the delusion of ignorance. with which it pursues with an amazing quickness the fleeting objects of the world. So again and again it has to be led on toward higher ideals. Of course, this is difficult at first, but with persistent training, the mind can be tamed. Then it will be fixed in the perpetual enjoyment of the Om, the Pranava. To make to understand the world is the glory Lord's three-act play. When an author writes a play, the entire play will be in the mind before setting pen and paper. Act after act, scene after scene, with no picture of the entire drama in the mind, the author will never entertain the idea of writing it all, right? But take the case of the audience. They grasp the story only after the drama is fully over. It unfolds itself scene by scene. Once they have understood the theme, they too can confidently describe to others the purpose of the play. Similarly, for the Lord, this drama of time is three acts: the past, present, and the future. It's as crystal as clear. Thus, with this, I like to conclude. Could make people understand that the importance of Sai literature. Let's move to the next topic, that is how to put Sai literature on daily practice. Sai Ram. हो गया अभी तो अपन स्टार्टिंग ऑफ
रिकॉर्डिंग इज
क्या हुआ रिकॉर्ड
साई राम, मैं निकिता कालीरा। आइए अब डिस्कस करते हैं हाउ टू प्रैक्टिस साइन लिटरेचर इन डेली लाइफ। मेरे ख्याल से इन तरीकों से साइन लिटरेचर को डेली लाइफ में अपनाया जा सकता है। स्टडी सर्कल के ज़रिए हम साई डिवोटीज़ हर तरह के साइन लिटरेचर का आनंद पा सकते हैं। हम में क्षमता बढ़ती है बातों को अपनाने की। स्टडी सर्कल में हम लोगों के डाउट्स डिस्कस करते हैं और उनको सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करते हैं। पारायण, साइन लिटरेचर के पारायण से हमारे मन की कोई भी चिंता या किसी भी तरह के गलत विचारों का निवारण होता है। पारायण से हर समस्या हल होती है। पारायण से हर सवाल का जवाब मिलता है। ग्रुप डिस्कशन से हम साइन लिटरेचर को आसानी से समझ पाते हैं। अकेले पढ़ने में उत्साह कम हो जाता है। ग्रुप में हर इंसान के बात की, विचारों की नई प्रतिमा बनती है। कुछ शो अमॉन्ग डिवोटीज, कुछ शो में बहुत लोग भाग लेते हैं, एक टीम बन के एक साथ हो जाते हैं। कुछ शो से हम डिवोटीज में विश्वास बढ़ता है और उन्नति होती है। स्टडी बिफोर स्लीप, हमने बहुत बार ऐसे साई डिवोटीज को देखा है जो रात्रि के समय स्वाध्याय करते हैं। इससे साई डिवोटी को मन की शांति मिलती है और पॉजिटिविटी आ जाती है। इससे उनको भगवान से मिलन का अनुभव होता है। हमने बहुत बार देखा है, सुना है कि भगवान किसी मकसद से अवतार लेते हैं। हर बार वो अपने डिवोटीज के सामने बड़ा उदाहरण रखते हैं। जैसे कि गुरु नानक देव जी ने गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी की रचना की, श्री कृष्णा जी ने भागवत गीता की रचना की, जिससे हमें रोज़ाना ज़िंदगी के हर समस्या के हल मिलते हैं। वैसे ही हमारे श्री सत्य साईं बाबा जी ने अपने मुख से बताई हुई हर वाहिनी उत्साहजनक है। ओम श्री साई राम।
सरस्वती नमोस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। नमो शारदा नमो शारदा नमो शारदा।
Yeah.
Namo Shah